Hi, I'm Vinny Barsanti, and I'm going to be talking to you guys today about how anabolic androgenic steroids undermine the professional and amateur athletes. So the first thing I was going to talk about are what are steroids, followed by how steroids affect the body, both physically and psychologically, and then the harmful effects that they can have on the body. So what are steroids? Steroids are actually, they can be defined by Encyclopedia Britannica as a steroid hormone that increases tissue growth. Anabolic androgenic steroids are given to promote muscle growth and tissue regeneration. For example, elderly or post-operative patients. Unsupervised use by athletes to build muscle and improve strength can be serious harmful effects, including coronary heart disease, sexual and reproductive disorders, immunodeficiencies, liver damage, and irreversible masculinization. So that's the Encyclopedia Britannica definition of anabolic androgenic steroids. And so next I'm going to tell you about how they actually work. And to fully understand how steroids actually work, you have to fully understand how muscles actually grow larger and muscle tissue actually expands. So what actually happens when you lift weights or do other physical activities to get bigger muscle mass is you actually rip and tear your muscles apart. So when you lift a weight, and if you're doing like a curl, your bicep will actually tear and shred, and then what actually makes it bigger is the healing process. So when your muscle is healing, it breaks apart, and all the little particles and the protein that is sent to that area to repair it actually stacks up on each other, and it just builds bigger and bigger, and that's what actually builds muscle. It's not actually by lifting more weight. The fact that more weight lifting, or the increase in the amount of weight can occur, is just from the repairing that your body does. And why people drink protein and all those other post drinks is just to speed up that process. And so that is actually how steroids work. Steroids aren't actually, you can't actually inject steroids and immediately have big muscles. What steroids actually do is they speed up the recovery process by tens and tens of percent. So if you were to take steroids and you're supposed to give your body a couple days rest between workouts, with steroids you can actually go back the next day or the following day and have the same effect as if you didn't work out for a week. Your body would be healed and your muscles would be healed, so they would be able to grow larger and faster. So how steroids are taken, there's actually 3 different ways that steroids can be taken. Most people just assume that it's only by injection and needle. But what actually can happen is you can take them orally through pill form, or you can actually take them through like a patch, like a pregnancy patch or like a nicotine patch that stops smoking. You can actually have steroids and put it somewhere in your body, and you can also take them that way. That's the least common of the ways. The most common way is actually orally and through injection. There's also many risks with all of them. Through orally, it puts more damage on your liver because your liver has to break down the pill that you're taking. And through injection, because whenever you get like a shot or at the doctor, you do get bruising, so you can get bruising. It's harder to find veins. And also you can run the risk of HIV if you're not using clean needles that are given to you by the doctors. So there's hundreds of different types of steroids, and what a lot of people do is they combine all these steroids and use them at once. It's actually called stacking. And stacking is something that causes even more risk, because instead of taking just one steroid, you're combining 3 to 4 different steroids to increase the amount of time and effects, because each steroid does something else. So you could take a steroid that repairs your muscles faster, but you could also take a steroid that gives you more energy. So there's many different kinds of steroids, and what a lot of people, especially younger people, do is they stack them together so they don't have to take a whole bunch during the day. They can just do it all during one time. So stacking has some serious negative effects, but I want to clarify that stacking is not just for steroid use. People often stack their workouts. So a stack would be, in the morning you wake up, you have some eggs or a protein shake, you work out, and then you follow that by some food or another protein shake. That's called stacking your workout. So that term is not directly used with steroid use, but it's also used in normal workouts as well. So there are many bad effects on the body, some negative effects that could occur from steroids, as you will know. In men, they can actually experience feminization, which is kind of the opposite, I would think, because when you think of people taking steroids, they usually want to get larger and bigger, and you see like these huge monster guys. Well, actually what can happen is they become more feminine, and what happens is they run the risk of reduced sperm. They actually develop a sort of breast, the shrinking of testicles, and there's pain when they urinate. So it's kind of ironic that these feminine traits can occur when you're trying to do something so masculine as build bigger muscles and look as muscular as possible. And in women, some physical effects is actually, they experience the exact opposite too. They actually become more masculine. So they experience like hair growth, their voice gets deeper, there's a change in their menstrual cycle, and they all actually, become more masculine than feminine. But these both effects, with these both effects differentiating between men and women, there is the common side effects that both genders face, and that's usually, as many people associate steroids with, is like acne. People can also become very bloated, and they also experience rapid weight gain. But acne is the most one that's physically seen by a lot of people, because you can get acne all over your body. It's hard to judge, weight gain or bloating. So, other physical effects that affect both men and women are blood deficiencies, heart problems, liver failure, skeletal problems, skin diseases, and immunodeficiencies, and these can both happen between men and women. So, aside from the physical side effects that occur from taking steroid uses, there's also the whole psychological effects that occur from steroid uses. And a lot of people have heard the term roid rage, where people who are taking steroids often have violent mood swings and act inappropriately at random times. So that's just a slang term that's coined for steroid uses when these psychological problems actually affect themselves and those around you. And some of the more severe psychological effects, the most severe that can cause life-threatening problems, is actually suicidal thoughts. So, which usually stems from the loss of friends, the violent outbursts against people you love that you just can't control because of all the testosterone that is taking in your body. So the suicidal thoughts and this lack of appreciation from others is what actually can be the most damaging to oneself. Other than that, there's also the effects of insomnia, anorexia, decreased libido, and fatigue. And most of these side effects occur from people who have taken steroids and are no longer taking them. Steroids are in fact an illegal drug, and they are just as addictive as other drugs such as cocaine and crack and other illegal drugs. So trying to get yourself off of them, often people have to go through some sort of rehab or detox, because your body becomes so immune to taking them, or so used to taking them, that it's hard to wean yourself off it and to stop taking them altogether. So when people stop taking them, there is insomnia where they can't sleep because their body just can't adjust to being normal, and anorexia and fatigue, they just, as you can see, as from other drug users, you may have seen on TV shows or something, the hardest part about quitting is just the withdrawals you go through for the first couple of weeks. But in a quote that I read from Denham, he said that bodybuilders experience this the worst because when they stop taking steroids, they have this altered body perception where they think they can reach these unrealistic body feats with huge muscles. So they develop unhealthy eating habits. They're never fully satisfied with how they look, even if they are as big as they want to be. They personally don't feel that way, and it often leads to inappropriate lifting programs and just pushing yourself too far to the extent where there's physical body damage. So the effects of taking anabolic steroids severely affects teens who want to take them, and most of the people who do take them are teenagers and young adolescents because they want to reach the level of athleticism or physical ability that others are. And some people just don't have the body type to, have massive muscles or to lift as much. So some teens feel the peer pressure from others to try and, what can I do to, get myself there even though I physically can't, and that's when they turn to steroids. So, it greatly affects them as as they're going through puberty and their bodies are changing. So it runs the risk even more. And I got another quote from Denham. It says, "From the standpoint of biological influence, Dr. Steinberg recently explained how, on the onset of puberty, the brain undergoes socio-emotional change, leading to increases in reward seeking, especially in the presence of peers. Behaviors associated with reward seeking often involve risk." This is saying that the main goal for many people, especially in high school, is to be accepted by others, accepted by your peers. And this may be through a physical manner, through being faster on the field, whatever it may be. So if they're not able to reach this feat, they often feel this pressure to take steroids or to use steroids. And just like other drugs, they mostly get them from like some outside source or some dealer, if you will. No one really just buys. You can't buy drugs at CVS, or you have to find some person. And most of these people claim to be experts on the drugs. And what actually ends up happening is they're not actually taking real steroids. I'm not sure if you know that people often mix cocaine with like baking soda to appear to have more substance, and when people are actually doing it, it's not actually all cocaine to save on like product. And so there is a real risk for people who are buying steroids from other people because they think that just because this guy takes them, he's an expert. And what they're actually running the risk of doing, as I said, is they're not actually taking steroids. People are putting in random chemicals to make it appear like steroids, and this runs a huge risk like internally in your body, and both physically and psychologically. So the effect of steroids really is a really negative thing. I mean, people will tell you that steroids are great because they make you bigger and muscular and faster on the field or whatever it may be, but the problems and negative side effects that can occur greatly outweigh the choice of actually taking steroids.